Evening. Breaking boundaries. I had my boundary. You can be eyewitness for my boundary, but then you have to close your eyes now and listen to this track made from a video, but I left the... Thank you. I'm a photographer. I was on my way to New York to do a story for a new program I wanted to make for television, for local television, and that was called Niveau TV. And I started at September 10th, 2001. I landed at Newark, and just at that moment, I filmed on my way back to New York this shot. You can imagine this was not 24 hours before. Anyway, I was accompanied by 3 other guys, 1 organizer, and a big chef from Maastricht, who ran a restaurant, who would run a restaurant, and that restaurant was inspired by a restaurant in New York. And I planned to do the opening shot of that story on top of the Twin Tower, in the window of the world, next morning, September 11 at 9:30. So, let me say this. I don't have so much time now. We were the morning after that at breakfast at 8:30. And of course, always in the hotel in America, we were at 54th Street at Warwick, big screens with CNN on it. And well, it was exactly 8:55. I walked in and I saw the television with 2 towers just like that. The 2 towers were the twins. And at that moment, I got a phone call. Actually, 2 phone calls at once. That was from my friend who was with me, Mats Schoenmakers, and mine. And Mats Schoenmakers, he took up the phone first, and his wife said, happily, you are still there, you are not... He didn't understand because nobody knows what was happening. And at the same moment, I took my phone and I got my sister. She lives in New York. I told her my plans and she said, well, Guy, you are too late because you have to go to the Twin Towers, take your stuff and run away. Well, she's my youngest older sister. I got 4 of them plus my ma, so I got 5 more, of course. Anyway, that fits to them very good when I was a little boy, and they didn't want to do the dishwash anyway. So I went as far as possible to the car. Somebody took the car, I took my stuff, my photographic and my video stuff, and I ran out of the hotel, and the first thing I saw was this. It was on the opposite of the hotel, the Warwick. So the car came out here, and I went around the corner, and this was the first thing I saw from what was happening. Nobody knows what was happening at this moment. You have to understand that. Well, you see this.
Into Air Force One.
And we are reading on the Associated Press wires that the West Wing of the White House has now been evacuated. The West Wing of the White House. Let's go back and listen to the continuing description at the Pentagon by Jim Miklashevsky.
Evacuated from the Pentagon?
Well, nobody's given us the official word yet, but I think that's probably a safe bet. Thank goodness that was a helicopter that just flew by. I'm just a little nervous right now when you hear aircraft go past. But they have, in fact, evacuated that portion of the building Usually they have sirens that go off in the building alerting you to the fact that it's time to get out. I haven't heard those yet, but just judging by the pictures, it's clear that...
So, you see, everything looks really rather normal. Nobody has an idea what was really going on. But a couple of minutes later, the traffic stacks. And right at that moment, I took my camera, my video camera, and I made, you see where we were, if you know New York a little bit. And this is what happened then. That's the first hour that came down. I didn't do anything. Anyway, we have to look again. I don't know how. You see, I run out of the car, the camera running, so everything is live. Everything you see is live. There's no cutting or anything. This is really the moment it happened, and what I did was not filming the disaster, but filming the reaction of the people. Anyway, at that moment the traffic was stuck. I said to the guy next to me, Huub, the chef, come on, we leave and go by walk. And so we went direction, yeah, now we call that ground zero, but at that time that wasn't existing like that. And so we went, if you know New York a little bit, you know where I am at Washington Square, and you got this picture. You can see I'm a photographer. It's not just like a picture, it's a photographic view. Also with the cross, the disaster, everything is in it. And where you see the first tower was already, the SARS one was already gone, and this one burning like a hell. And then I went to a specific place where I get a better view on this tower, and that was at the edge of Hudson Street and Thompson Street. And then I saw this. You see again what I mean by this picture. For me, this was, I have to say, the perfect view, but you can imagine what I mean by that. And here you see the coming down of the first, from the tower. And the crazy thing is, I got it at movie, at film as well. I don't, till this moment, not how I fixed it, but I got pictures and stills from the same. And that's a few seconds later. Here you can see in detail how it is. And now we come to the point where this was all about, my boundary. Listen very carefully, because you are going to see now what you hear at the beginning. And what I want to say by this, I see something, I heard something quite different from what you hear. The sound you will hear here is not in my mind. I didn't notice that at all. What I heard was something quite different, and that was a big breathing, a big breath, the souls of 1,400 dying people who went away. That was in my mind. I didn't hear what you...
They had something else besides this at the Pentagon?
No. 5 minutes later, normally it was still cramped.
So there's the Pentagon now? But the other Pentagon?
This was one shot, by the way. At the moment I heard my voice, my sound, I realized, of course, so many people went to work this morning, kissing their wives and kids goodbye, and never came back. And I thought to myself, I could be one of them. Half an hour later, I should be on top. What's life worth? What can you do with the rest of your life? So that was my boundary. And what I did with that, I tell you later on, because I want to make the story complete so you know what happened next. I went further on and we came, I met this. Have a look. This girl. She was drawing. The twin was already gone.
Picture finished?
But she was still drawing. And I say to her, hey, you are...
No, I
perhaps
can't
you can hear it.
And I'm going to make copies of it so other people can have it last minute. It was
it's a little bit slow because down the sound, but I asked her, you are still drawing? She said,
get in touch with me.
Yes, indeed, I'm still drawing. She drew also up to the heaven and draw something that wasn't there anymore. It was very crazy. So I asked her, can I buy that picture? She said, no, I never do that. That's the last one. I can remake it. You can have a print, but I never do that. So I continue, but it stayed in my mind. I took a picture. You can see there was the twin who isn't there, and she was still working. I tried to get on ground zero. You see a lot of dust and whatever. the fireman came out of the building, survivors. You can see what emotions they had. I pick up from the street some pieces of paper, burnt paper, bills. I get them. World Trade Center fixed building system, you see, it was all came out of the building. But then I came back on my way. I was out of film, I was out of batteries. I was finished as well, and there was no communication possible anymore. There was no traffic, there were no taxis. I have to walk 54 blocks back, and on my way back I came again by Washington Square. I made this one. If you remember the other one, you know what I meant. And that lady with that picture, that drawing, it kept me in my mind, so I went back to Soho looking for her. I looked for 1.5 hours, and at the end I found her. She was sitting in front of a store on the ground, and I asked, "Hey, do you remember?" "Yes," she said, I do. She had a big map with paintings. I said, "Do you want to drink something?" "Yes." She said, "I don't have money anymore, and I'm hungry," so I pick up some bread and some drinks. I went to her, sit next to her, and at the end, yes, I got him. It's to Mick. Mick is my son. Last picture before the collapse, and that's what is still in his room, I have to say. Now, what did it with me? Because that's what it's all about. When I came back, it was impossible to come back. It took a week before the first plane left New York. How I go further on with my life, how I spend my life for the rest. And I examined everybody in my neighborhood, everybody. My near relatives, but also my friends from how much time do I spend, or spoil, I have to say, with the rest of my life on people who don't really matter. The people don't know I examined them, but I did. Also with my work. I had a lot of clients who bring a lot of money, but I don't like the work. I said, I don't do it anymore. A lot of people, I said goodbye. They still get a glass of beer or whatever. They don't know, but I know. So I make space in my life to meet new people. And that's what happened. I only do the work I believe in, and I only talk with people and surround me with people I like, and I only do that where I believe. For the rest, I do nothing anymore. And it makes me poor, but very happy. Anyway, 10 years later, I went back. And I walked the same route as I did on 9/11, 10 years before. I took my old pictures and went to make a story for television and for my magazine from what did it to New York, what was in it for New York, this disaster. And this kind of type of photography is called deer photography, and you use pictures from that time in nowadays situations. You can see also the new car and the old cars. You see all the buildings, they are exactly fitting. You see the new World Trade Center building, and that was the point where I made the other picture. If you look also here, exactly the same look to the building. So you can see what has changed and what's not changed. And anyway, this was the picture where I had my moment, my boundary. And now another coincidence, I have to tell you what happened here when I was making this picture. By the way, if you have a good look, here it's coming down, here the new one is coming up. When I was doing that, there was a couple, two people, man, woman, who watched what I was doing. And they said, hey, that's interesting, what are you doing here? And so they started to talk with me. So we got a conversation, and in that conversation, the man said something very interesting. But interesting also for me, for another reason, because he told me his name, he was also a producer, and he was in New York for promoting his documentary he made about his father. I said, who is your father? He said, my name is Carl Colby, and my father was William Eggert Colby, director of the CDA, now the CIA, the guys who had to take care that this couldn't happen. So I will finish with a shot from that interview I had with him, because he said something interesting.
This is the voices of the people.
Oh.
I lived here. I mean, the World Trade Center was always the focus. You know, you always knew when you jumped up from the subway, you knew where you were. Powerful personality. If someone attacked your major country,
You get stronger out of it?
I think much stronger. It's like, what does it say? Hemingway said that when you hurt your arm, if I break your arm, when it heals, it's stronger.
Okay. So you see, whatever happens, look for your own boundary and pick out, that's human as well, the good things of it. Thank you.